Okay, guys, in this intense moment, we see Ruth starting to seize control and gain power over the highest, which she does from time to time, but this time it was different. This time we had the FBI at the gate and swarming the air, ready to come in at any time, so it was a little different. It's another one of those scenes that shows Ruth's resilience and her cunning wit as she navigated the dangerous mind of the highest, her husband-to-be, quote unquote. Now let's break down this scene along with other subplots in this episode and explore the prophetic implications of Ruth's unborn child, little Rakadushi Jr. here, that they've named One, which adds another layer of complexity to this already intricate storyline. Let's go. Ruth is demonstrating her growing influence within the camp. She manipulated the highest using her prophetic significance of their fake unborn child to her advantage. Now, this lengthy and intense scene, it marks a turning point for Ruth as she begins to assert her power and her control. And even though she was asserting power, it's just enough to calm the highest down and for him to take a listen. And because this is just a third episode of the series, this scene is setting the tone for this shift in power, in my humble opinion. Now, during this time, we have some people that were panicking and others that were in peace, because remember the last episode, they were just about to take that Kool-Aid. Now, Ruth decided that she needed to quarterback this play. So she jumped in front of the highest and grabbed the chalice from his hand, but that didn't work. Then she began to tell him that their baby boy was a prophet and that he didn't think it was time for them to go to the Raku yet. Then Elder Mother called her blasphemous and told the highest that she was lying. She told the highest that his unborn son wanted to share in the prophecy and that he didn't think that the Raku was calling them home. Not today. They went back and forth for a while. In fact, this was the longest scene of the episode. So you really have to see it for yourself if you haven't already to feel the impact of her words and all the tension that was building. The highest told Ruth to sit down, but she refused and she told him, "I'm not going to sit down until you hear what I have to say." He told Manny to fire his gun in the air and then to aim it at Ruth. Oh my gosh. And he didn't really want to do it. He was like, are you sure, the highest? But I guess Ruth figured at this point she doesn't really have anything else to lose, so she was pulling out all the stops. But after she saw that rifle pointed at her face, she eventually sat down. Then she tried rolling around on the floor pretending to be in pain. And the highest was just trying to comfort everyone, telling them, don't be afraid. We're all going to a better place. And why is Lacey standing over here naked? I don't get it. I mean, could the deterioration of her mental health be any more obvious? And again, the dialogue was very, very long, but it did end with them not taking the poison Kool-Aid. And Ruth convinced him to train the women, to train them how to fight in battle just in case the men went down, just so that they could be a little bit more effective in battle. And I agree, because I was tired of seeing them walk around with them axes and Coca-Cola bottles. She also convinced him that the Raku wants them to stand up for themselves and to fight the government versus taking the poison Kool-Aid. And she finally persuaded him to retire Elder Mother from that kitchen and assign her to the infirmary instead. So now Ruth is in charge of the kitchen, where she can take control of all the medication that Elder Mother was pumping into the highest food. She questioned everybody from Daikon to Brother River and got them to confess that they'd stand in the name of the Raku with the highest against the evil government. And they was all with it too, because they ain't trying to go to the Raku for real. And I believe the only person who really wants to go for real is Elder Mother. And all while this is going on, Kyle and Desiree are outside the gate wondering what's going on the inside of the gate. They wanted to know what the purpose was for all the horns and sirens. After everyone left, the highest gave Ruth her props, telling her that she's his strength, and they continued to compliment each other back and forth until the highest began questioning her about little one's prophetic word. The fake baby. She had told him so many lies and finessed him over so good that she ran out of words to say. So she tried telling him that he needed to rest because he looked tired, and he said, "Well, I'm not tired, Ruth." Then she said, "Oh, well, I'm tired," right? Then she started yawning. She just desperately needed to dismiss herself from the conversation in case he asked her something else that she couldn't answer. In our next scene, Channel 3 News is up at the compound, and they're there to get an exclusive news story on the Rakadushis. Turns out Aaron is the one that called them, and he wanted to report everything that he'd seen and to report that his wife Laura had been killed. But Desiree told him that they weren't allowed on the property and to get lost. Keys finally got her lunch, and it's not the steak that she wanted, so I'm wondering if this is going to be enough to make her talk. Then we see them all returning to the kitchen, and Elder Mother excused everyone so that she could say goodbye to her beloved kitchen. She really can't wait for Ruth to ask her for help. She took all the highest pills with her so that Ruth will then have to ask her, but little does she know Ruth doesn't really want to rely on that medicine, so she's creating the perfect situation. Ruth and Daikon both know that medicine is making him crazy, and this is why he spazzes out so much. He really has a mental condition that's untreated, and Elder Mother thinks that this medicine is the one that's keeping him calm all the time, but it's really not. It's making him more manic. But I don't know, Elder Mother may find a way to still get it to him, hence why she's taking it in the first place. Then we see River there to congratulate Ruth on her Oscar-winning performance that she put on for the highest under the pavilion. And it was definitely a performance of a lifetime because they're still alive. Now, River is desperate to talk to her as usual. He's cracking up a little bit because of all the close calls that they've had, and they still don't have the money. River told her that Daikon thinks that he tried to escape, and Manny knows that he tried to escape too, so he thinks that they're going to conspire against him and then tell the highest. He's asking Ruth for her help, but she really doesn't know how to help him out of this one without raising all kinds of suspicion. Joan is in the infirmary and she has a rising temperature, and when Elder Mother started to give her some elderberry juice, Zane ran off to the restroom to look for Lacey, and Elder Mother told her not to be gone for too long. The highest is in his trailer panicking again. He's pretty nervous because the cartel is on the loose and the FBI is in the air and at the gate. He told Daikon he's not going back to jail. And they had this tender moment, and he trusts Daikon again. And Daikon said that wherever he's going to be, he's going to be right there with him. So hopefully this gave him some sort of comfort. The highest told him that he's feeling a bit unbalanced, and he wanted to make sure that all the soldiers were willing to die for him. He said that he can't have any more mistakes, and he needed to know exactly what was going on with everybody all the time. And the highest was pretty embarrassed by the Mary and her sister situation, so he also wants to make sure that this doesn't happen again. Daikon wanted to put her in the punishment trailer, but the highest said no, bring him Sister Mary and he's going to kill her himself. And he wanted to kill everybody that thought like her. This is absolutely crazy. I don't know, maybe Elder Mother does need to fix his plate because he's spazzing out all over again. Zane finally found Lacey in the trailer sitting on the bed. She thought that Lacey had ran back into the woods or something, but no, she's right there in the trailer talking out of her head. Zane told her that she needed her and that she didn't have anyone else, so she needed to snap out of it. And Lacey's sitting there talking about the light and the Raku and how they're gonna all die. She started laughing hysterically, and Zane had to leave her there before Elder Mother got suspicious and came looking for her. But this actress, she really pulled us into this scene. She did a really great job. I was convinced, and it was very believable that she's losing her mind. I think that this scene worked a lot better than the one of her standing under the pavilion naked with no one saying anything at all to her. Like, everyone acted as if they didn't see her. So that didn't carry over too well for me. Daikon told the highest that it's not wise to kill anyone else. Not right now, at the moment, because they have too many eyes on them. Daikon suggested that River come over and help the highest to release some of the rage that he was carrying. So he told Daikon to go and get him, but to also kill the people that were in the infirmary that was near death. And this should stop anyone else from asking for them to be healed. Just take them out of their misery. Crazy. And even though Daikon wasn't so sure about it, he forced Daikon to make it happen. Zane told Ruth that Lacey was in the trailer and that she was losing it. She wanted to know if Ruth could grab something from the kitchen that would help Lacey. And in return, she asked Zane if it would be okay for her to get the highest to appoint her to be the apprentice under Obadiah to keep an eye on little Callie because she doesn't trust him. Zane agreed to put herself in harm's way and to take on the assignment. Manny and the other guard were standing outside the gate talking about the rumors of the shooters that attacked them. They were actually the cartel. Daikon came and asked Manny for his help, and he obliged. The first stop that they made was at River's trailer. He told him that the highest wanted to see him. And when they were leaving, Desiree called Daikon, and River overheard him saying that it was the FBI. She told him that they weren't going anywhere and that he might as well talk to her, but he didn't. Then after this, he and Manny made it around to the infirmary to ask Elder Mother which of the wounded were past their expiration dates, and she pointed them out one by one, and Daikon and Manny took them out. End scene. I liked the episode overall, and I could really appreciate the fact that now they're in the negotiation phase of this heist or whatever they're going to do, this raid. So we're at a much different place than we were before in the previous 4 seasons already. So it makes all of the scenes a little bit more intense. And something else that's quite notable is Daikon's trigger-happy fingers. We're just on episode number 3, and he's already got a handful of bodies. He's shooting people left and right, and we're not used to seeing so much bloodshed from this character, but here we are. And then we have Lacey. Besides the fact that she's clearly becoming unhinged moment by moment, her performance in this episode was unmatched. She did a great job with her monologue. Well, it's not quite a monologue because Zane was there, but whatever. And I'm really loving the shift in power from the highest to Ruth and the highest into Ruth, so I really like it. But that's it, good people. That's all that I have for Tyler Perry's Ruthless Season 5. Episode number 3, The Night is Long. If you like this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. You know I'd appreciate it. And if you're a fan of Tyler Perry's Ruthless, then go ahead and sub to the channel for more videos just like this one. Thank you so much for joining me today, you guys. I'm Ruthless TV, and I'm going to see you on the next one.